Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Gamers Sphere Presents, the Regular Joe Gamer podcast. We are recording on Tuesday evening, the 8th of April, just shortly after 9 o'clock. So here with me, as always, I have my stalwart co-host, Chemical Rachel.
Hi.
And I am your other host, Agasicles. John Heats, the editor-in-chief of Gamersphere, was going to be joining us tonight. He unfortunately had to work late at his job. So right. So he unfortunately won't be able to join us tonight, which is really unfortunate because it completely disrupts my opening topic for the night. And Rachel, I know I think you'll have an opinion on this, although it doesn't impact you directly.
Is it a PC thing?
It is a PC thing, but
okay.
So earlier today, John tweeted from the site a story that he posted indicating that in order to play Watchdogs, you will have to have a uPlay account.
I saw that.
Yeah, which is Ubisoft's version of Origin, which is EA's version of Steam, which is Valve's version of Games for Windows Live, or however you particularly want to look at it. And that's no intent. I wasn't trying to slight Valve. So to me, Steam is my cloud gaming service of record, so to speak, and even though it technically came after Games for Windows Live, or maybe Steam was first, I'm not sure. But at any rate, my point is that so I'm already bent out of shape about Watchdogs, right? Because we have to keep talking about it.
Because it's shut up about
right,
it.
because the thing didn't launch on time and it's delayed, and I think a common theme from anybody doing any kind of news coverage for any topic is we all generally hate having to talk about things for months because they're not over yet. And that's kind of the way I feel about Watchdogs. But in particular on this topic, my big problem is, I already have Steam, I already have Raptr, I used to have Xfire, so and Raptr and Xfire aren't services that you buy games through, but they're still clients I have to run on my desktop in the background to support gaming.
Right.
I have Need for Speed Most Wanted. I absolutely hate having to log into Origin when I want to switch over and play that game, right? Because I already have Steam running in the background and I don't want to be bothered with anything else. So I already have half of mine that I don't want to play Watchdogs. And this is just kind of another thing. Like, we're definitely in this age where like every publisher now has to have their own gaming service that's going to have its own client that runs on your desktop, and go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. I'm used to it though because Ubisoft has been made console gamers have a uPlay account. So I'm used to it, but it's not like uPlay is running backwards.
So wait, so even on consoles you have to have a discrete uPlay? Because
Well, it depends. If you want to play online, you do. Like Assassin's Creed. I made one back for, oh my god, Splinter Cell Conviction when it made me make one.
Right.
I think that's the one, but like games like Assassin's Creed on the PS4, in order to play online, you have to have a Ubisoft account. You have to connect it through your Ubisoft account.
So, but I think one difference with that is, because I guess that was also true.
Yeah, it's Uplay, not Ubisoft.
Right. I think maybe because I had something when I first set up my Origin account, I had some other EA account that Origin was able to see, and I think I'd had to sign up for that when I was playing Battlefield on the Xbox 360. But the difference with that was, I set that thing up one time, and I entered a password for it once, and it just automatically connected from, I didn't have to,
because it's connected to your gamer tag.
Right, so I didn't have to be bothered with it.
Right.
And and I will say, even if that's the case, still I played Rayman Legends this weekend on the Xbox One, and it asked me to connect with an Ubisoft account or to skip it. right? So periodically you see something come up on the screen saying it's syncing with uPlay or it's looking for uPlay or whatever, but it didn't force me to have a uPlay account. Now, granted, that game's not, um, yeah, it's
Online.
not multiplayer, but
Yeah. Well, okay, I don't much mind the Uplay account because I'll say this, it gives you extra content. And how I'll say this is if you connect it to your account, you can go in and load up the new Assassin's Creed and load up your Uplay account anytime. And it tracks what you've been doing. Like if you earn a trophy completing the first mission, you'll get points, like these little reward points. And it's like, I think 10 points per trophy or whatever. And you can use those points to purchase content for the game. Sometimes it's like little outfits. Sometimes it's for the 360 it was a theme or something that you could purchase. They have things like you can do avatar stuff every now and then. So I never really mind Uplay because it just kind of gives me free stuff. I don't know if that's how it's going to work on PC or not because like I said, I'm console gamer, so
yeah, so that's the interesting thing. And if anybody else, if any of the listeners out there have an opinion, please by all means, post comments when we post the podcast because I'm really interested to hear because that was John's response too. His response was, that shouldn't be a reason for me to not play the game, and Ubisoft requires that of all games now anyway.
yeah.
Again, the difference in my perspective is, years ago when Ubisoft made it required for you to have an internet connection, like all the time, for you to play games on your PC. And I think they did that with either Assassin's Creed or Assassin's Creed 2 for the PC. At that point in time, I said I am never buying another Ubisoft game for the PC, and I haven't. At least not a modern one. Like I've bought old games through Steam, but so I just haven't had to deal with that.
Yeah, I don't know how it works on PC,
Right.
but I know it requires me to have one on my console.
Right. So if they make it so it's transparent on the PC, then it's not a big deal. But if it's if it's a thing like Origin where, and I can't remember, I haven't played Need for Speed Most Wanted in a while, so I can't remember if I had to actually go in and
You have to log into that thing every single
okay,
time.
yeah.
Trust me. Because I have The Sims,
Okay.
and while it's installed on my PC, I still have to load up Origin every single
Right.
time and log in every single time.
Okay. Yeah,
It's
that's what I
annoying.
thought. So yeah, if Uplay works anything like that on the desktop, yeah, there's no way in the world.
Yeah.
So at any rate, with that, let's skip on over to the news because there's a crap ton. Did you have any particular news articles that you were bringing that you wanted to talk about?
The rumor that Marvel Heroes is coming to Disney Infinity. I'm so excited about that. How bad is it that I loaded up the page today and I saw that and it was like the highlight of my day.
So I saw that story and I didn't put it in the rundown because I didn't think it would be something you wanted to talk about. But
This is me here, dude.
so is Infinity kind of like a
It's like a Skylanders kind of thing. It's got a little dock, and you can buy little action hero things and put them on the dock and play as those characters in your game. And you have to have the little action figures in order to play as them in your game.
so is it anything like Kingdom Hearts or
No.
okay, all right,
They have these things called toy boxes, and it basically goes through bits of the story of the movie. Like they have toy boxes for Pirates of the Caribbean, Monsters Inc., The Incredibles, Lone Ranger,
okay,
and one or more. I don't remember which one.
okay, huh.
But they have like 4 of them, and the only thing that sucks is to play as those toy boxes. You have to play as the characters from there. So like Monsters Inc., you have to play as Scully or Mike or any of the other Monster Inc. characters they have.
Right.
Same with Pirates of the Caribbean. But they have characters that don't have toy boxes. Like they have Jack from Nightmare Before Christmas. They have the people from Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope. And they don't really have toy boxes, so it's like you can go in and create toy boxes from different stuff. It's kind of like creating a small mini game within this game, and it's really cool.
Okay. All right.
But they're coming out with Marvel superhero people as a little statue.
Okay, because the Marvel superhero angle definitely kind of piques my interest, even though this doesn't sound like the type of game that I would typically play. But
Well, I'm a Disney nerd. That's
okay,
why I wanted it.
okay.
I love Disney to death, and that's why I wanted it. And I love Marvel, and they had a teaser trailer showing Captain America's shield going around the Disney Infinity Universe.
Okay.
And I actually love that company, because if you go to their Facebook, and they're open to suggestions. Like, they want you to comment on their stuff, saying what you would like to see in the game and what they could bring. And I think they take comments to heart, because I've seen a lot of people ask for Marvel on their Facebook.
So who's the developer on that? You know?
I don't remember. I don't know. It's just a website, a Facebook page.
Okay, because I wonder if they're doing it in-house and if it's Warner Brothers Interactive, since I mean Disney. I mean, the one thing about something like this is, with all the acquisitions Disney has made, they can, if they wanted to, they could pull off a project like this completely internally and not have to deal with anybody external. I mean, they own Lucasfilms, they own
all of the things.
Yeah, exactly.
They own everything.
They own Marvel.
Disney is
they've got their own video game, developer studio and publisher. So yeah. Very interesting. Okay. Anything else on your end?
Not enough.
Okay. So I'm going to try and run through this kind of fast, and when we hit stuff that you want me to stop and talk about, interrupt me. So number one, on our own site, there was a story posted today about the Crew release window being announced. So the Crew is a...
Oh yeah, that was supposed to be a launch title.
Yep.
I remember that was the token free launch title for PlayStation 4. It would be free for Plus. Right?
I'm not exactly sure. I probably get this mixed up with Drive.
Or is that the one that was...
Drive was definitely supposed to be in the launch window, and it was definitely supposed to be free for PS Plus. It was definitely supposed to be like the token game that you got. I mean, it was kind of supposed to be like the killer instinct for the PlayStation 4 launch. But that was Drive. So this is the Crew, which is an Ubisoft game.
I think I did that too. There's too many racing games. They're all the same to me.
So this one is going to be a bit of a twist. I haven't watched this trailer, and I haven't looked at the Crew in a while, but I believe this one kind of incorporates it's a little bit of a mashup, right? It's got a little bit of Need for Speed, a little bit of Grand Theft Auto, a little bit of what am I thinking? Of Driver. And maybe a little bit of what's the game I'm thinking that I played on the 360? Test Drive. So you have this world map, and you operate in crews. I'm not sure what the size of the crew can be, and you pull off jobs, and the jobs involve racing. But I think there's some element of like crime, or being a courier and ferrying stuff back and forth, or maybe picking up other jobs as well along the way. But it's kind of like a massively open world team-based racing game. But I didn't get a chance to watch the trailer. You should watch the trailer if you can. It's posted on our website, gamersphere.com, in case I haven't plugged that already. And it's just under a 2-minute trailer. And the big thing is that apparently, Ubi didn't broadcast this, but apparently if you do watch the whole trailer, you will actually see the reveal of the release date for this game, which is now coming out this fall. And I'm not sure if they provide a more specific date than that in the trailer, because like I said, I haven't had a chance to watch it. But this is one of those games that I find to be pretty interesting and pretty exciting. when it hits the next generation consoles, because this is a game that I could probably play, you know, for hours at a time.
It doesn't have any more specific date. It just
Does
says
not.
fall
Okay. All
2014.
right.
Yeah, I just skipped through it and looked
No,
to
no,
the
no.
end.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And this will be launching on the PC, the Xbox One, and the PlayStation 4. So pretty.
Man, that's not going to go to 360 or PS3.
Yeah, it's such a weird. And I wrote that article a few weeks ago about the strange landscape of game releases. About how just we're seeing like really this pattern of really strange behavior when it comes to gaming launches and releases. So,
Yeah,
it's
like some of them come to the old system and some of them don't.
right, and then even fewer are actually coming to all. So what I'm accustomed to seeing in this time is I'm accustomed to seeing these games come out and hit
On
and
all
on
of them.
all of them, and then gradually over time you see games that don't go to the
Hmm.
old console. But I mean, like the Amazing Spider-Man game, which I mean, development on that can't have started that long ago because they would have only, it, it would have only been so long that they would have known, that license would have been released and that they would know when they had to complete the game to support the movie launch. It's coming to all the old generation consoles. And I'm like, there had to be dev kits out for next gen,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, there's a few games that aren't coming to this gen. Like, what was it? The new Dark Souls didn't come to
right,
the PS3,
right,
4,
right.
and 1.
Yep.
There's some other ones too. Like the Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2 HD remake didn't come to PS4, which made me
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah, it's just really strange. Probably the bigger news today is that the Elder Scrolls Online released today for the PC and the Mac.
Yeah.
Have you, I know you're tracking that to start playing it once it hits
PS4.
PS4? Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
really? Huh.
What do you mean, really? That's my chosen system. Shut up.
But you also have an Xbox One,
I
as
do. But I have no friends on my Xbox One. Oh God, don't turn on.
oh,
I
yeah,
have no friends on there,
yeah.
man. Like, it's just
So you
me.
you have to remind me. I know. So last time we did the podcast, I was bragging that I don't have to worry about saying Xbox because I had my Kinect disconnected, but right now it's currently connected in the same room with me, so I have to.
You know my pain
Yeah,
now.
yeah, I sure do. I sure do.
But yeah, I don't have friends on my one. Like, it sounds really sad, but I don't. Like, I don't have anybody to play Titanfall with. I don't
Uh,
have anybody to play Forza with or Plants vs. Zombies. I just don't have anybody to play with. All of my friends on PlayStation 4 or still on the
you
360.
could play Forza with me if I didn't.
You would kick my butt over and
No,
over and over.
I wouldn't because I'm not a fan of Forza multiplayer because like I don't like that whole thing. Going back as far as Forza Motorsport 3, I never liked that whole thing of okay, so I have to play the game, right, and manage my garage for a certain way to support the way I play as a single player. But then for multiplayer, I have to have this additional inventory of cars that in every class, that I specifically have to use when I have to play multiplayer. And then I have to have some of them stock because some people are going to set up races that don't allow, upgrades. And then I have to have other cars that, that are maxed out, but in their same class. So it was just, I really, I really prefer,
I haven't played it.
yeah.
Sounds fun.
I mean, we should certainly play it. I mean, once we get it going, the other thing, for the listeners out there that we're trying to get set up is a,
Game with games.
yes, yeah, I forgot what we were branding it as. So, yeah, it's a,
I don't know what we're branding it as. It's just kind of an idea out there right now. Has anybody else even signed up?
you and I have signed up for Forza Motorsport 5, and then John and I have signed up for Unreal Tournament, either 2004 or 3, and Warframe. And I think for the PC. Um,
I signed up for Titanfall.
yes, and I haven't signed up for that yet. I'm probably going to want us to try and get a Forza Motorsport 5 night going first, and then I might be willing to make the investment to pick up Titanfall. Or
It's in development though.
yes, yeah. So just keep an ear out on the site. Once we do go live with it, we'll obviously post it there and try and get a feel from people who are interested in signing up, and we'll give you instructions and directions on how to add us to your friends list and stuff like that.
And let us know if you have any suggestions on what we should
Yeah,
play.
yeah. So you can definitely do that in the comments on this podcast post, or uh, or what I want to say, or or send us a message on via Twitter,
Brain fart.
or Google Plus would be the other thing you could do. Either way, somebody from the staff will see it and make sure that Rachel and I get it, so we can coordinate this game with Gamers for your night. So back to Elder Scrolls Online. Have you been tracking this at all?
Um, Not as much. I mean, I don't always track games, you know me. Like, it depends on the game. I wait for it to come out, and it's just kind of there. But one of my friends, he is really big into it. He is excited as crap. Dre?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's all I hear from him. Oh my god, did you hear
I
Elder
know.
Scrolls Online? I'm like, shut up!
That or Oculus Rift.
Yeah. But I am pretty excited for it to come to PS4. And I say PS4 because I have friends on there that'll play with me. And I'm not going to get a multiplayer game that's available on all consoles for the console I don't have friends on.
Yeah, that's just such an interesting. It's just such a swing in the tide of battle from last generation, where we would have been saying the exact opposite. That we
Right.
have PS3s, but we have no friends on there to actually play with.
Yeah. Which is, it's kind of weird. But hey,
Right. So I would keep your eye on the Xbox One version, though. In my opinion, there are some exciting things going on at Microsoft, which I think we're going to talk about later on in the show. And
You're just trying to sway my decision to play by myself. Do you really think Dre's going to let me get it on the Xbox One?
that's
Come
true.
on.
That's true. I forgot he didn't have an Xbox One.
No, he does not. He's not going to let me do.
Although he is watching their sales prices on eBay, and he said if they drop low enough, he will grab one without the Kinect.
Yeah.
So.
Which the Kinect is just a pain in the butt. When you're making a podcast talking about video games in the same room as your console, it is a pain in the butt.
Very true. Yeah, fortunately it hasn't come on. So, so I took care. I will say the one thing I've done is I am speaking in the opposite direction from where the Xbox is set up, so it is probably not picking up my voice.
See, the opposite direction for me is a wall.
So at any rate, it's fairly interesting that has launched, and I didn't realize. I guess it is kind of a little bit strange. It's very strange to me that this game is launching on the PC and Mac in April, and it will not hit consoles for another 2 months.
Yeah, it's a little strange, but I kind of like that because that way it gets them a chance to work out the kinks and the bugs.
Right. Yeah.
And maybe get more of an online stability.
Yeah, you would.
Because you know how notorious all always online games are for not working for the first 2 weeks.
Right, yeah. And I'm curious as to whether or not this is going to be, one of those huge games that brings a server to its knees. It's tough for me to get a read on how many people. I mean, I know Elder Scrolls I know that franchise is very popular.
It is.
But I don't have a good read on how many people are going to play it as an MMO.
I don't know. I've a lot of people, my friends are excited about it because most of my friends are like me. I love the Elder Scrolls.
Right.
I played the crap out of the Oblivion, Skyrim, and I played the crap out of all of those games. And I am excited to play those games online with my friends.
Right. I will say, June is a good time for it to launch because they're gonna be catching,
summer break.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I'm excited it's not releasing in April, because can you imagine my grades if they give me Elder Scrolls Online in the middle of the semester?
Right. So next news article up is Deponia is confirmed for PlayStation 3. So Deponia is this franchise of point-and-click adventure games published by this company called Daedelic. Daedelic, yeah, I always struggle to pronounce that. And I bring it up because I just last week interviewed Gene Moji, who worked with Daedelic. He is the developer at Irresponsible Games, and had worked with Daedelic to get them to release 1954 Alcatraz, which is another point-and-click adventure game. So, and the first question that I got after I posted the interview, or maybe when I posted my first impressions of that game, was, where's the PlayStation version, right? Because a lot
Hmm.
of people think that these kind of point-and-click adventure games would be great fits for to fit
Hmm.
squarely in where kind of these smaller games fit on the PlayStation Network. I mean, PlayStation Store and in the Xbox Live Marketplace. And I think they're right. Um,
That's kind of ironic because I just right before this podcast I finished writing my first article for Gamersphere about a point and click adventure game. And that's coming to PC and Mac.
yeah, that's awesome. Really.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if this will come out by the time the article does, but a game I did it on was called Inspire Me.
Okay. Okay.
And I took it because the idea behind the game is the fact that this kid is playing in his father's laboratory and he breaks the time machine, which screws up history.
Okay.
And I'm the history
Right.
major.
Right. Right.
So this is why I took it. And it's a point and click adventure game that's going up to Kickstarter for funds.
Okay. With and the
And
intention is that it would be available on the PlayStation.
well, the intention right now is it's going to be available on Windows,
Okay.
PC, Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, and
Okay.
Android.
Okay.
Um, but that's kind of ironic that you were talking about a
Yeah.
point-and-click adventure game.
Yep. So at any rate, so the Deponia franchise will be released again. This is another weird one on the PlayStation Network for the PlayStation 3 sometime this summer of 2014. I think maybe they're going to be talking about it at PAX East, which is in a couple of weeks in Boston. Not absolutely certain, but again, if you're looking for more games for the PlayStation 4, um, this one should be hitting in over the summer and should be pretty fairly interesting play. I think these kind of point-and-click adventure games are kind of making a comeback.
Yeah.
So next news story is obviously there's been a lot of churn. We've talked about it on the Gamers Sphere Poppycock Review podcast about all the churn that's been going on in Sony first-party studios, in particular Naughty Dog. Uh, so the game director of the Uncharted series, who recently left Naughty Dog, just showed up at Visceral Games, which is a studio that is working on the next Star Wars game. So,
Yay, more Star Wars. My eyes are rolling. You can't see that.
well, some of those Star Wars titles out there there are a handful that I rank amongst like my favorite games of all time and are ones that I have distinct memories of. So if
Man, I'm gonna be the bad dork over here and say I hate Star Wars. What's the other
Star
one?
Trek.
Star Trek. That one too. It's just all over the place. And well, I guess you could say the same thing about my zombie games. But
Right.
hey.
That's fine. I mean, everybody's got their own bag. I
Mhm.
mean, I think what'll be interesting is if she is able to make. I guess I'm hoping that she's able to make a strong enough story-driven game that, she'll potentially get people who are not Star Wars fans to kind of check the game out, just to play, that deep kind of story-based narrative that she's been able to, assist in bringing to games that have come out from Naughty Dog. So next story, and this is a big one that has particularly piqued my interest, is the updated hardware version of the PlayStation Vita is going to be coming to the U.S. on the 6th of May. It is going to be coming as a bundle with Borderlands 2. And if you're not familiar with the hardware update, It has a smaller form factor, a built-in 1 GB memory card, and increased battery life. I can't remember if on this one it actually... I also want to say that on this one the display is actually not as good as the launch hardware set for the PlayStation Vita. I want to say that one has an OLED has an OLED display, and I think this one just has an LCD. So so color saturation and contrast isn't as good as it would be on an OLED screen. May not make a big difference in day-to-day play, but you know there are definitely obviously those display freaks amongst gamers who insist on having absolutely the best possible display. So that might make a difference to them. But so I don't know. You already have a Vita, right, Rachel?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Any interest in picking up the revised hardware set?
No.
No?
That's a real quick no, too. I I play my Vita, but not enough to justify buying a whole new hardware set.
Even if you traded your current Vita in?
Right, no. Because I'd still have to pay more money for it. Like, no.
Yeah. So I don't have a Vita. This has definitely caught my eye. I have been kind of eyeing them, especially because, like I said, there's not a whole big inventory of games to play on the next generation console. So every once in a while, when I remember that there's not anything new to play on my Xbox One, I'm like, maybe I should go get a Vita. Or even, I mean, I've even considered a 3DS a couple times in the last month.
3DS is nifty. I have one of them too.
Right.
Mm.
So I'll just mention this one real very quickly. For owners of the Xbox One, you will be getting Game of Thrones Season 4, the premiere episode, between April 8th and the 14th.
Woo!
So it will only be posted for a limited time. I know this is probably not a franchise you're into,
No.
but a lot of people are. So,
Yeah, a lot of people are.
so I think it's a nice benefit. And this, I mentioned earlier that, there's some very interesting things, in my opinion, going on at Xbox or at Microsoft, and this is one of them. So Phil Spencer, in the last week or so, I think, has been named to be the head of the new Xbox division. There was an article on our site posted about that as well. And Spencer has been the I don't know if he was the VP or the director or whatever of Microsoft Game Studios, which included all of the first-party game studios that Microsoft owned. And that's been his primary role for the last several years. But in a recent organizational change that Satya Nadella, the new CEO of Microsoft, put out, he named Phil Spencer to take over that spot. Actually, that spot had been vacated by the previous VP for the Xbox division, and under that guy, the Xbox division was really just, I think, really just hardware, pretty much. The game studios were kind of run in their own separate organization, and some other component, but pretty much now under Phil Spencer, everything that has to do with Xbox has been consolidated under him. He now reports to the VP for operating systems. I mentioned in my article that I thought it was strange that he was not aligned to report to Stephen Elop, who will be becoming the head of the Microsoft Devices Group, since the primary component of the Xbox division is the Xbox. But at any rate, I mean, this content deal is the type of stuff that Spencer worked on under, as the head of Microsoft Game Studios for the last few years. He was the guy who stealed like the HBO deal and other stuff. So it'll be interesting if he's talked about stuff like this. He's talked about a lot of very exciting announcements at E3. And what I mentioned in my article is I really hope that this is the guy who really lights a fire in the Xbox division and really gets the ball rolling with the next generation. And granted, I'm still not really happy about having to wait until E3 to really hear about it, although I suspect we'll hear some dribs and drabs between now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm pretty. I mean, I've gone from being a guy who said I'm not buying an Xbox One. I'm definitely going PlayStation 4
And you bought an
to
Xbox
to
One.
buying an Xbox One. From being a guy who said I was not gonna. I when I brought my Xbox One, actually, I left the Kinect in the box.
I wish I'd done
And for all my crap that I give you about about physical media and boxes, I do keep all the boxes for my electronics upstairs in a storage room.
And you give me crap.
I
And
give you
you give me crap. Okay.
I give you crap because you
Yeah.
keep boxes for media. I keep boxes for hardware, and the reason
I keep boxes for hardware too.
yes, you're right, you're right. You do both, and I feel like your hoarding of boxes for media is the thing that's too much for me.
No, it's not. It looks pretty. Leave it alone.
So, I mean, I keep my boxes for hardware because a lot of my hardware I wind up, selling on eBay, after a couple years of use. So,
And a lot of the boxes of the hardware has your serial
yeah,
numbers written
right.
on it, and it's really helpful. Like one of my friends, his apartment got broken
Okay,
into, and they stole all of his all of his stuff. They didn't steal the
okay.
boxes.
Sure.
They stole like his Xbox and his TV and all that. He and his computer. He just got to go to the boxes and get the serial number off of it and give
Okay,
them to the police so that they could find
right.
the consoles and what all of his
You know what
stuff.
else those are good for is when you don't sign up for your warranty registration until after you already have your device connected, and that stinking serial number is on some sticker underneath the bottom of it, and you
Hmm.
don't want to, you know,
You don't want to unplug everything and
right,
just
right,
work
right. Or
tirelessly
flip the
plug
thing
in.
over because you have it on. So, yeah. So next news story is again I you know so there's a dearth of games on the Xbox One. Part of the reason for that is because there's really no Xbox Live marketplace kind of thing and games for gold and all that kind of stuff that goes on the 360. I mean,
Oh yeah, we touched that on base on
right,
that
right, right. So
at
there's
one
the
point.
Xbox Game Store, but so
It sucks.
yes. So at any rate, so, so this week there was like a fire sale on games going on Xbox Live Marketplace for the 360.
Why do you tell me these things? I hate you. Your face.
Yeah, so while it just makes me cranky, it may actually because you still have your 360 hooked up.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so man, you could go to the Xbox Live Marketplace on your 360 and have a field day. So
Where's my controller? Oh yeah.
so I'm gonna read through these, and these aren't even the complete list. So Resident Evil 5 is 67% off. Devil May Cry HD Collection 67% off. Remember Me 67% off. Sleeping Dogs 38% off. Castle Crashers 67. Perfect Dark 70% off. Uh, Gears of War 3 67% off. Gears of War 2 and the original Gears of War all 67% off, as well as a Gears of War 3 Season Pass that is 67% off. Alan Wake is 75% off. Crackdown is 67%. And Halo Wars and Halo Reach are 67% off. So the big thing this is for for the gamer who when I'm missing one of these games or skipping one of these games or whatever, this is a good
You wanna know what's really, really
no, it's
sad?
not.
I own every single one of those games. Every single one of them I own.
So
Well, not all of them on the 360. Like, Remember Me, I got on the PS3 for free. I'm not going to pay for it now.
right. So so I didn't read through the complete list. There's
I feel better now. I feel better now. I don't have to go back. Go into that.
so sorry, I was kind of so there were a total of 27 games on sale. Uh,
Probably own all of them.
I don't know. I'm gonna throw the link
We'll
over
find
to
out.
you and see how I do that.
Oh, I'm waiting for my Xbox to update, and then I'm going to figure it
So
out.
I just sent you the link in case you want to take a look at the
Hey, oh,
sales.
thanks.
Okay, we'll skip the Dark Souls 2 graphics things. John's not here.
And I hate Dark Souls.
Right.
Passion.
We'll skip Curses and Chaos. We'll skip the Humble Bundle. We actually might be done. So,
Well, I lied. There's one thing I wanted to talk about that I figured it
okay.
out. There is a new game called Dead Island Epidemic.
Yeah.
Now, everybody knows Rachel loves zombie games.
Is that DLC or is that a standalone?
No, it's a standalone game. Everybody knows Rachel loves zombie games.
Yep.
Rachel loves Dead Island. Oh my god, I love Dead Island. They have murdered everything I loved about Dead Island with this game.
Really?
They have murdered it.
How's that?
Dead Island is a first-person RPG shooter mix zombie game in the middle of a zombie apocalypse that revolves around 4 core survivors.
Yep.
Perna, Sam B, Jean, and Logan. They're gone.
Okay.
First of all. It's no longer a first-person RPG zombie game. Second of all. It is now a Diablo-esque, top-down kind of shooter thing that is ridiculous. One of the characters is a freaking goat. Okay?
Goats seem to be very popular these days for some reason.
Yeah. And they've just taken everything I've loved about this game and turned it and killed it and like stabbed it in its face.
Okay, so if this were DLC and it made sense to get it because it was an expansion of the story you played through the first time, I'd feel bad for you. But more importantly, I would really feel bad for you if there weren't like 59 other zombie games coming out in 2014.
That's true.
I think.
But, like,
Does that?
this is true. However, it's like them taking your favorite franchise and killing it. You know what I mean? There might still be 50 other of those kind of games coming out.
Well, I mean, was this
core franchise.
Was this really your favorite zombie game, though? Was it, I mean...
It was one of them, yes. I don't know. I can't pick favorites when it comes to zombies. But it was one of my favorites. I bought Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide twice each.
Right, for different platforms.
Yeah. And I had played through each of them several times, and I love them to death. And I love it because it's a 4-player co-op. They still have the co-op in this stupid epidemic crap. But I love it because it's like 4-player co-op, and it's got the serious and the funny, like, elegantly mixed in. And I love it. And it's one of my favorite franchises. But they've killed it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so
still haven't generated sympathy for it. And I mean, my perspective is a little biased because so I played. I mean, you and I talked about it. I played Dead Island on the PC. There were things about it that I liked, but I just didn't feel like it really transcended what a lot of other zombie games are. And I also had some problems with, again, you and I talked about how, how come when I kill this zombie, I can go through his pockets and get money? And why is money important when I'm a stranded survivor?
Yeah.
So, but I get that, overall I think it was a good game. I just don't know that I personally needed DLC for it. And again, I think there are some awesome zombie games coming out this year.
There are. Like, there's Dying Light, which is, that's the one, like, I'm done.
Right.
But
and Fortnite, I'm really looking forward to.
When one of, like, a series that you've notoriously loved, when they release a thing saying, this is the next game in the franchise, you get excited. And then you see something like this and you're just like, what did they do?
So let me ask you a slightly different variation on that question. And I get it. I'm there with you when, there's something that you love, whether it's, a comic book franchise or a TV series, or whatever. I've been particularly hurt by, because, in my house, we've cut the cord, and so I don't watch broadcast television. And the only way we watch TV is over streaming services. Well, I've been hurt and burnt by getting into a series that is, in its first season, Um, and by the time by the and I'm watching episodes, let's say 3 weeks behind, um, and and I hit a point in the timeline where even though I still have 3 or 4 weeks to catch up, and the remainder of the season beyond that, the word is already hitting the street that the series hasn't been renewed. So,
Hmm.
so that's a tough thing for me as far as the extension of a given franchise. But here's what I want to ask you, because you know throughout the history of the regular Joe Gamer podcast, we've talked about this concept of difficulty in managing your backlog, um,
Yeah.
and it's worse for me now because because I mean there's tons of reasons why it's worse. It's it's harder because I'm technically supposed to be a PlayStation editor, right, on Gamersphere, but I have an Xbox One and I really want to spend time with it and I really love it and I still want to play games on my PC and on mobile and that kind of stuff and and also you know we're all supposed to be periodically doing reviews for the site and so now I don't now I have to play that dedicated time on a game to get through a review, and that makes it harder for me to get to this game on the PC that I want to play, or this game on on Android that just came out. So the thing I want to ask you is if with all of the content competition for your time, um, does this still hurt you that much that they've taken this thing and skewed it away from what I was given the fact that you have to admit you may not have gotten around to playing it anyway.
I would have played it if it was an actual, like, because the things that I love, like the series that I love the most, I always find time
Okay.
to play. Even if I don't have it, I find it, because who needs sleep? Sleep's a thing of the past, whatever, it's fine. I'll sleep when I'm dead.
No, I agree. I guess I agree. My thing
Yeah.
is that there's just always tons, and I am by no means trying to say you shouldn't be offended. I'm actually just kind of intellectually interested in kind of how people are thinking about this stuff and how we all think about it.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, everyone's view is
Right.
different, but usually I think my experience with most people is if they love something a lot, if they like something enough, they'll find time for it.
No, I completely agree, and I completely agree that, you know, 90% of my life I'd be right there with you. Um,
Hmm.
it's just I'm at a point now where, if somebody said, "Hey, they're doing a sequel for, your favorite game X, and but we've changed it and it's not exactly what you used to know and love," I'd be like, "Thanks a lot. Thanks, great. I have one more game I don't have to add to my backlog, I have
See, mine's just like, great, I hate you, go away now. Like, I'm not gonna buy the new one on principle because I know.
right.
I would have bought it if it was the same, like, at least the same first person first person RPG kind of thing. The characters, while I love the characters, they could have not used those characters and they still would have had my support
Right.
because it's the game mechanics that I love so much. While I love the characters, it's the game mechanics and all of that. So I hate it.
Well, I'm sorry. I do look forward to playing maybe some multiplayer zombie games with you later this year because
Yeah.
even though that's not my typical bag, I do see a bunch of them that I'm genuinely interested in playing.
Oh, trust me, I'll end up buying them on both consoles. Don't worry about that. Because as the more of my friends that choose which one that goes, I'm just going to be like, whatever, I'll buy both.
Right. Right. All right.
It's only money.
So, so let's go on and talk through our playlists. I don't know how much you've been playing, but do you think it would be a good idea this week instead of kind of having one of us go on like a 5 or 10 minute spiel about what they've been playing? Do you want to kind of go onesie twosie back and forth?
I haven't been playing much, so we can just do like we usually do.
Okay. All right.
You go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. So as I mentioned, I've been playing Rayman Legends on the Xbox One, mainly because it's one of the few things I actually play on the Xbox One. Um,
The reason you use your console.
I discovered playing this, or I was reminded that I am not a platformer gamer. Um, that's not a genre that I play. I actually posted to my gaming diary on Google Plus that I haven't really played a platformer game since Crash Bandicoot on the original PlayStation. So
Dang.
yeah, it's been a while because I just there's elements and reasons why I don't find that genre particularly interesting, and it shows, so I mean, I'm playing this game, and I mean, there are just conventions that I don't get. I realized in this might be an interesting thing to bring back up in one of the other podcasts in the Gamers for Poppycock reviews podcast a few weeks ago. We talked about the importance of narrative in a story because I guess there's two guys, a creative director, I think, and a designer or lead developer or something, who who said that that basically they question all of the level of effort that gets invested in making a strong narrative in a game, and and I basically felt like it is definitely important for certain genres of games, but for other games it can be thrown away. Like, obviously, I don't need a strong narrative or story for Forza Motorsport 5,
Yeah.
or any sports game, really. Um, but,
Why do you need a strong narrative behind a sports game?
well, that's what I'm saying. You don't.
You really don't.
And, uh, and what I talked about on that podcast was kind of the thing that I've experienced playing, like Sid Meier's Pirates, where it's it's similar to these games from 10 or 20 years ago where it used to be the game didn't fill in a lot of the narrative for you, but in your so, it's kind of like when we were kids and we didn't have a lot of like gadgets, right? You use your imagination and you filled a lot of those blanks in. Um,
Right.
so Rayman Legends, like, I can't freaking tell what the heck is going on from a story aspect. There's like, there's all kinds of little things, and so, so I'm having a hard time connecting with the game, and because I'm not getting the story, and I'm really just playing it as kind of a big digital obstacle course, which which keeps me entertained, but only for up to like 30 minutes at a time.
Mhm.
So I've been playing that. Second thing is, and I think you and I both have this game. You also have Tomb Raider, the definitive edition, don't you?
No, I have Tomb
Okay.
Raider, the regular
Okay,
edition. Not the
but
definitive.
you did. I mean, but content-wise, it's basically the same game, and you played that on the
Basically,
PlayStation 3.
and 360. Because I got it free on the PS3.
Okay.
So I was like, why not?
So this game got a lot of critical acclaim when it came out last year and was very
It
popular.
did.
And
It's a pretty game.
yeah, I'm not crazy about it. Um,
Me neither. The graphics are beautiful. I love the graphics, but like, eh. I had more fun with the multiplayer
okay, right.
than anything
And
in Tomb Raider.
and yeah, I was thinking about adding this to the game with the Gamers for Editors sheet to see if anybody was interested in playing it. So first of all, the comment I made on my gaming diary was, I've definitely had much more fun recently playing, game sessions of Tomb Raider Legacy and Tomb Raider Underworld, or not Legacy, but Tomb Raider. Yeah, I think those were the two: Tomb Raider Legacy and Tomb Raider Underworld. Um, I, I don't like it. I don't. It's more complicated. I'm bothered by the frequency of QuickTime events in the game.
Yeah, those were annoying.
Yeah, and I'm like, because they really take control from you at that point.
Yeah, one of the first ones that made me stuck for a long time, and it really annoyed me because I don't like QuickTime events.
Right.
Not that many of them. Anyway.
Right. Exactly. And and I thought I was really going to enjoy wielding the bow, but what I'm seeing right now is every bow that I've fired has fired dead straight.
Yeah, I noticed that too, and it's that's incorrect.
Right.
Because when I picked it up, I use bows in other games, and there's always an angle, an
Right.
arch
Hmm.
to it, because of gravity in the
Hmm.
arrow. But no, not in Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like, for the definitive edition at least, and even for the originals, I'm like, you have enough processing power to make an accurate ballistics model for arrows.
I think it's just laziness.
Yeah, yeah, or rushing to get it out, maybe.
Yeah, they're working too much on the pretty
Right,
graphics.
right. Um, so I've also been playing some Forza Motorsport 5. I'm getting more into that game after being kind of lukewarm from playing it when I initially got my Xbox One. Um, and and I've been playing a slew of things, either for to do retro reviews on. I did a retro review a couple of weeks ago on a MotorStorm for the PlayStation 3. That game, in my opinion, holds up surprisingly well to have been a PlayStation 3 launch title. And then I've been trying to get through all of 1954 Alcatraz. I have not completed that game. I think I put like about 6 hours into it and did the interview with the creator and developer on it. Um, and that interview kind of elicited a lot more background information than you can easily extract from the game. So so I definitely want to get back to it because he kind of fueled my interest even further. Um, and then last thing, probably the most interesting thing that I've been playing is Fleet Command, which is a 1999 game for the PC, published by Electronic Arts. Um, and it is this 2D, 3D point and click strategy game that is entirely tactical. So at the outset of every mission, you're given a set of forces that you have at your command. You're put in these different scenarios in different oceans around the world. Um, Enemies obviously come out to get you, and it can be a mix of submarine, air, and surface vessels. Sometimes all three, sometimes two of the three, um, and it's just awesome. Yeah, it's so hard to explain. I love I I I, I love games that are about tactics. Like I love RTSs that don't have resource gathering elements to it. Uh, and this game is just very neat from a warfare aspect. You have to kind of manage your flight deck because you can only have so many aircraft on your flight deck at a time. So you can't just put every aircraft in your carrier squadron on alert because you know you can only have four on deck at a time, and if you do need to launch a different type of aircraft than ones you have on deck, then it takes you cycle time to get two of those aircraft off the deck, get two more aircraft up to the deck, and launch. So it's just there's resource management, but there's not resource gathering. And you
hmm
have to manage your aircraft and their fuel and your weapons loadout on your different ships. You have to be selective about what enemies you shoot at. Um, so it's just amazing. I mean, Fleet Command is kind of one of those games that's right in my sweet spot of gaming,
Yeah.
and I'm working on it, I've been playing through it because I've been working on it for a retro review to be posted on the site, which should go up tomorrow.
Oh, cool. I
So
mean,
so that is everything that I've been playing for the most part. So what about you, Rachel?
okay, mine comes with an
Okay.
explanation. I hurt myself at work
Ah, I'm
last
sorry
week.
to hear that.
I hurt my right hand.
Oh,
Do you know how bad you need your right hand and your right wrist to be able to play
oh
video
yeah,
games?
yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I haven't been able to play video games that much because I crushed my hand and wrist under a 70-pound box.
Oh,
So it's been in a brace for like almost a week
man,
now.
brace but not a cast.
Right, brace but
Okay,
not a
well
cast. So I just got the ability to type fluidly back and play video
okay.
games. So my list is very, very short.
Okay.
My list, I started that Mercenary Kings that's free on the PS4.
Yes. Yeah.
I hate that game.
Yeah, I've heard you and our own Matt Shiflett, another one of the PlayStation
I just
editors.
liked it.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
actually working on it for review and just was
Yeah.
like, I can't do it.
I can't finish this, man. I can't even get out of the first room. I spent like an hour trying to get out of the first room, and like, well, while my wrist is better and I can play games, I can't hold the controller too long, so I can't play for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
Which was very interesting writing papers that were due for school, by the way.
Yep.
So I couldn't even get past the first room in that, and it made me angry.
So I'm glad to have heard the feedback from both of you on it because it was on my work list of games to review for the month of April, and I was planning on playing it on the PC because on Steam it was like like $4.59 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to hear from two fellow.
Yeah, I don't want it, and it was free. I feel cheated. And it was free, which is probably bad for me to say that. But I played that, and I'm probably going to continue to play it because Dre loves it oh so much, and he gets on my
Yeah.
love you, Dre. And so that caused me anger, so I had to go play some Battlefield 4 and kill some people. And then the biggest new thing that I've been playing is on the PS4, Dynasty Warriors Extreme Legend.
Okay.
Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legend released.
Right.
And I didn't know it. And as soon as I logged in the PS Store, I saw it and I bought it. I love Dynasty Warriors. I don't know if I've made that known on a podcast before.
Nope, you've mentioned we talked I think when the sequel prior to this version came out, and you mentioned it then, and I just asked you, so I hear it's going to be more Dynasty Warriors, right? I mean, it's going to be,
Yeah.
and you said you were fine with that, and
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yes. I have purchased every single Dynasty Warriors since 4, I think. I don't remember, 4 or 5. And I love every single one of them. And I go in and I give my $60 expecting more Dynasty Warriors. And the thing about this is I have Dynasty Warriors 8 for my 360. And this is Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends Complete Edition.
Okay.
So what it is, it's basically the same game, but on my PlayStation 4 and with more content. Like they have a new, they have a Lubu, however you say his name. Still can't master that man's name. They have a whole story mode just for him now, and they have new downloadable characters that weren't in the other one. I would not suggest, if you aren't a huge hardcore Dynasty Warriors fan like me, I wouldn't suggest going out and buying Extreme Legends if you have 8.
Yeah, so this is not a game to jump into the Dynasty Warriors franchise on.
If you want to jump into the Dynasty Warriors franchise and you just bought a PS4 and you want to try it,
and there are no other decent games to play on the PlayStation Store for the PlayStation 4.
If you want a hack and slash game, that's what it is. It's a hack and slash game. So if you want a hack and slash game, and it adds more of a RPG element to it than I think I've seen before, because just like in 8, you have this new, you can get weapons and you can add whatever weapon you want to whatever character you want, which is semi-new.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
For Dynasty Warriors, and you have a lot more skill sets and level characters up and stuff like that.
Okay.
So there's some tactic involved in it.
Okay.
But if you already own 8 for the 360 or PlayStation 3, I wouldn't go out and buy Extreme Legends Complete Edition unless you're a crazy person like me. At least until it comes down in price.
Right.
Because I paid $60 for it. I bought the digital download too because I was so excited. It's like mine. It must be on it.
Wow.
And that's all I've been playing since I was able to play for the short bursts of time that I'm able to play.
Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. Well, I think that is a wrap. We are closer to being on time tonight than we've been in a very long time. So Rachel, if people were looking to catch up with you on social media or any place that you post your content, where should they catch up with you?
Chemical X Rachel, that's my screen name on anything. I am writing for Gamersphere every now and then. I have, like I said, written an article, an announcement for a game called Inspire Me. That should be up within the next few days, I think.
Okay. All right. Okay, very cool. And for me, I also write on Gamersphere. You can catch my articles posted under the name Agasicles. You can also catch me under that same name across various social media, so Facebook and Twitter and Google+. And you will find a mixture of links to stuff that I post on the Gamersphere website or some other content that I write outside of the Gamersphere network. So content-wise this week, I know I'm working on, like I said, a retro review for Fleet Command, which I think would be worth checking out for PC wargamers who might be looking for a retro game to play. I think that game is incredibly cheap on Steam right now, and after you read my review, if you want to go grab it, I think will provide you hours of entertainment at a very low price. So,
That's always good.
right? If you didn't hear our interview that I did with Gene Moji, again creator of 1954 Alcatraz, check that out on the site. It is a special edition podcast that is posted on the site. So if you do any type of Google for Gamersphere and 1954 Alcatraz, that should come up fairly quickly at the top of your Google results. And I think that is about it. Rachel, anything else that you want to mention to anybody who's listening out there?
No. Okay.
All right. And
Don't crush your hand.
yeah.
You won't be able to play video games. I promise you.
Yeah. Wow, that's got to be rough. That's got to be rough. All right, everybody, so that is another show in the can. This is Chemical Rachel and Agasicles, and we are out of here.